So what can you actually eat on a low-carb diet? It's the number one question people ask. And today I'll break it down into simple categories: proteins, fats, vegetables, dairy, fruit, drinks, swaps, plus a sample day so you can see what this looks like in real life. Moderate carb intake would be something like 100 to 150 grams a day. Low would be 50 to 100 grams a day. And if you were wanting to try and put your body into a state of ketosis so that you're burning more visceral fat, you'd be looking at 20 to 50 grams of carbs a day. So let's talk proteins. You've got meat, you've got poultry, you've got steak, you've got chicken, you've got turkey, you've got fish and seafood, things like salmon, tuna, prawns. Eggs, incredibly versatile and incredibly nutrient dense. So here's an example, like scrambled eggs with spinach, you're going to come in at under 5 grams of net carbs. So as you'll see here, here's a list of common high carb meat products and low carb alternatives. Just a helpful little list for you to look at, and that's going to be at the end of each section on this video. You want to be thinking about healthy fats as well. Things like avocados, olives, olive oil, nuts and seeds. You need to be portion controlled with those because they can soon ramp up. Things like coconut oil, olive oil, avocado oil. Fats keep you full and they do help reduce your cravings. And here's your list of common unhealthy fats and some healthy low carb alternatives that you could be looking at. Then vegetables, let's talk vegetables. So you want to be looking at low carb veg, broccoli, cauliflower, leafy greens, bell peppers, and limit the higher carb veg, things like root vegetables, potatoes, parsnips. Net carbs example, 100 grams of broccoli, you're going to get 4 grams of net carbs, but a potato, you'd get 17 grams. Big difference. And here's your list of common high carb veg and low carb alternatives. Dairy and fruit. When we're talking dairy here, we're talking things like cheese, Greek yogurt, cream, full fat, unsweetened. Useful list of common high carb dairy products and low carb alternatives on the screen now. With fruit, you want to be looking more at things like berries. They're the low carb hero. Avoid high sugar ones. Give you an example, 1 cup of strawberries, you're probably looking at about 9 grams net carbs. A banana, which is one of my favourites, at 25 grams of net carbs. So I've definitely reduced my intake on those. So again, you'll see on this list, high carb fruit and low carb alternatives. There's a lot of berries that are on there. They definitely are your fruit superhero. Drinks, water's best. I often opt for sparkling water just because it makes me feel like I'm having something a little bit more luxurious. Coffee and tea are fine if you're not adding sugars. I would avoid juices, I'd avoid fizzy drinks. They're like liquid sugar bombs. Processed foods, there's a lot of hidden carbs in sauces and dressings. Simple swaps, you can swap it from rice to cauliflower rice, courgette noodles, could look at lettuce wraps. But now you've got things like low to zero carb noodles and rice and pasta. I'm using a lot of the zero carb noodles at the moment and I can't tell the difference, to be honest, and I'm feeling satiated after it. So an example day, you might want breakfast, eggs and spinach. For lunch, you might be looking at something like a chicken salad with avocado, snacking on almonds. For dinner, you might be looking at salmon, roast veg, choosing the right veg, cauliflower mash. With that menu, you're coming in at 40 to 50 grams of net carbs for those 3 meals. And that would keep you within the ketogenic diet net carb gram range. But if you didn't want to go that low, you could add in a couple of snacks. You could have something like Greek yogurt and raspberries. It was going to give you about 9 grams of net carbs. And then you could also look at something like a keto mug cake. That would give you about 3 grams of net carbs. So you're bumping it up by 12 grams. And if you want some inspiration and more low carb recipes, click on the playlist above. I've been making plenty and more than happy to share those, see if there's anything amongst those that takes your fancy. And all the macros are listed at the end of the video as well, so you'll know exactly what it is that you're going to be consuming. So that's what you can eat on a low carb diet. Real food, protein, fats, veg, some dairy, berries. And in the next video, we'll tackle low-carb breads. Are they healthy? Are they just clever marketing? Subscribe so you don't miss it, and comment below. What's your go-to low-carb meal? And here's a helpful list of 15 common carb swaps that you could maybe be looking at to implement in your stock cupboards. But I thought it might be helpful to include like an example of what I eat in a day when I'm following this ketogenic diet. I'm currently on day 24 of my first 28-day first month health reset. And the principles I'm following aren't just ketogenic diet ranges. I'm also using intermittent fasting and some exercise. So this morning, exercise-wise, done some yoga. Just as soon as I got out of bed, felt so good after that. And I also have done 7,000 steps, which is my kind of minimum go-to from a walking perspective. So what I'm showing you with this meal plan is that I came in at 40 grams, less than 40 grams of net carbs for the day, keeping calories around about 1,200 calories a day, just because I'm trying to expedite the visceral fat loss and inflammation in my body. And that I stuck to 2 meals and 2 snacks for the day. And in this example, I done a 19-hour fast. Wouldn't recommend that to start with, but I've been building up to it, and I've done intermittent fasting in the past, so my body just finds it easier to go back into the longer fasts. But even if you've done a 12 or 14-hour fast, this would be an easy diet plan to follow. So on this day, I had pea and feta frittata, absolutely gorgeous. I had leek bacon, cream and mushrooms. That was my 2 meals. And then for snacks, I made some keto rosemary crackers. I love a bread thing, or a cracker, or a crisp, anything to do with that. So if you've come across any additional good recipes, please comment below, because I'll definitely be interested in trying those out. And then for my second snack, I had mini cheesecake and dark chocolate. Ketogenic cheesecake. And you'll see here, my calories for the day came in under the 1,200 mark. My net carbs came in at 24 grams, really happy with that. Energy levels felt brilliant, felt really balanced, no cravings, consuming at least 2 litres of water in a day as well, and all is good. Thanks for watching. See you next time.